a young king used to frequently disguise himself and visit every part of his kingdom. He did so because he wished to know his subjects better and see how they lived. One day, he overheard three sisters talking as they drew water from a well. "We work so hard to fill our stomachs," complained the eldest. "If I could marry even a servant of the king, I would be able to live comfortably and eat my favorite sweets all day long." "Ah, I wish I could marry the king's cook," declared the second sister. "Then I would eat not just sweets but all kinds of tasty food." The youngest sister, who was shy and quiet, said nothing at first, but when her sisters prodded her, she said, "Well, if I could choose, I would marry the king himself." Her sisters laughed and made fun of her, but the young king went back to his palace in deep thought. The following day, he sent for the three girls, and to their utter astonishment, fulfilled the desire of each. And so, the youngest sister, with whom the king had fallen in love, became his queen. The royal couple lived very happily until the queen had her first child. Her two elder sisters, who were married to a servant and a cook respectively, begged to be in attendance during the birth. Little did the young queen suspect that her sisters' hearts were full of anger and envy. No sooner was the baby born than they replaced it in dark with a dead infant. The king was very upset when he saw that his wife had had a stillborn child, but he forgave her for not giving him a hire because he loved her very much. The queen's sisters, who had put her real child in a box and thrown it into the river, luckily one of the king's gardeners rescued the baby boy and began to look after him. In the following 3 years, the queen gave birth to two more children, a boy and a girl. But each time, her wicked sisters put the baby in a box and threw it into the river, replacing it with a dead one. The king had had enough. Feeling as sad as he was angry, he turned the queen out of the palace. Quietly, she went back to the little cottage in which she had once lived with her sisters. Fortunately, the gardener had saved the second and the third babies as well. He and his wife were bringing up all the three of them as if they were their own children. But the kind couple died when the eldest boy was only 12 years of age. The three children continued to live and work on a small piece of land that the king had given the gardener. They looked after one another and were happy and content. One day, when the two boys had gone to the market and their sister was cleaning the house, an old woman came to the door asking for some water. The little girl offered her both food and drink with great courtesy. The old woman was very pleased. She patted the girl on the head and said, "God has blessed you with a kind heart, my child." Then she added mysteriously, "May you find the magic bird and always be happy." The little girl's curiosity was aroused. "But where will I find this magic bird?" she asked. "Go out of your house and turn left," said the woman. "If you walk far enough, you will find it." When her brothers returned, the girl told them about the old woman's visit. "I want to go and look for the magic bird," she said. "Don't worry, little sister, I will get it for you," said the eldest boy. "You stay safely at home." He set out the very next day and walked a fair distance till he met a fakir, whose eyelashes had grown so long that he could hardly see. "Let me help you," said the boy, and very carefully he trimmed the lashes. The fakir thanked him and asked him where he was going. The boy told him. Go back, urged the fakir. It is a long and dangerous journey, and no one has ever returned with the magic bird. I have to go on, said the boy. I promised my sister that I would bring the bird back for her. Then take this ball of string, said the fakir. It will guide you. Let the string direct you as you walk. And don't be distracted by any noises or disturbance. Just keep your goal in mind. The ball of string directed the boy towards a high mountain as he neared it. Unseen voices hissed at him and shouted out questions. Remembering the fakir's warning, he ignored them, but suddenly loud thunder bombarded his ears, and the ground began to shake. Startled, the boy stopped and moved away from the path in search of refuge. Before he knew it, his body turned to stone. And 3 months passed, and their brother had still not returned. The second boy set out in search of him and the magic bird. His little sister begged him not to endanger his life, but he reassured her that he would take care of himself and began the fateful journey. He came across the same fakir and received another ball of string that was going to direct him, but distracted by and frightened by the noises, even he turned to stone. Another 3 months passed. All alone and terribly worried, the young girl decided to go in search of her brothers. She locked her house, turned left, and started to walk. When she met the fakir, he tried to dissuade her to go back home. Even your brave brothers have failed to return from the land of magic bird. You are just a girl and possess less than half their strength, said the fakir. But she shook her head. I must find my dear brothers. Please give me your blessings, she said. The fakir blessed her, gave her the same gift that he had given her brothers, and sadly watched her go. As she neared the mountain, the unseen voices assaulted her with blood-curdling hisses and screams. She put her fingers in her ears and walked on. Thunder roared and lightning struck, and the ground shuddered beneath her feet. But though she was terrified, she kept walking. She looked neither right nor left, and she did not see her two brothers, who were standing still as two statues of stone. Once she had crossed the mountain, she reached a peaceful green valley, and on the branch of a tree, singing the sweetest song she had ever heard, was a beautiful bird of the most colorful plumage. As soon as it saw her, it flew from the branch and came and perched on her shoulder. I have found the magic bird, she said to herself. But where could my brothers be? She wondered anxiously as she walked back, and then she saw them, still and lifeless, standing not far from each other. She ran to them, hugged them, and began to weep. The bird fluttered from her shoulder to theirs, and within minutes, the two boys miraculously came back to life. Rejoicing in their good fortune, the children returned home with the magic bird. They lived happily for many months, until one day the king came riding by. The two boys who were working in their field greeted him with great reverence. As the king spoke to them, he heard the melodious voice of the magic bird singing in the cottage. Who is singing so sweetly? Asked the king. The boys told him and invited him inside their house. The king readily agreed. He had not remarried since he drove away his unlucky queen. If I had children, he thought sadly, they would have been the same age as these young boys. When he entered the cottage, he was dumbstruck at the sight of a little girl. So much did she resemble the queen, he had turned her out of the palace. but whom he still dearly loved and missed. "O king," said the magic bird, "do you not recognize your own children? Your queen's wicked sisters threw them into the river and put dead babies in their place. Your gardener saved their lives, and here they stand before you. Embrace them and take them back with you. Great king, they are your own flesh and blood. Life has given you another chance to be happy." The king could not believe his ears. Joyfully, he embraced his children. They located the queen, and the king begged for forgiveness, and the reunited family returned happily to the palace. The queen's wicked sisters confessed their crimes and were banished from the kingdom. The magic bird lived with the king and his family for many years, and the kingdom flourished like never before.